Hey everyone, it's Zach again from NeoZeno. Sam's off doing life stuff, but today she sent me something so ridiculously infuriating I had to make a video about it. So by this point I'm sure everyone's seen that video of the weird MAGA kid and like the tribal drum player. It's making the rounds of both the right and the left side of social media, and of course opinions are really polarized. Either this kid is some rotten racist hellspawn who just wants to ruin a righteous Native American man's protest to relive the 1600s, or the drum player with his angry cohorts felt the overwhelming desire to harass some poor innocent Catholic boys while they were praying or something. As usual, the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. So first let's go over what happened. On Friday, January 18th, Nathan Phillips, a Native American Vietnam vet from Ypsilanti, Michigan, was attending the Indigenous Peoples March while the Covington Catholic School Group was there for the March for Life, both of which were in D.C. According to multiple sources, by around 5 p.m., activities for both marches had concluded for the day, and the school group was waiting for the bus to come pick them up. And that's when things got weird. According to a video of the incident, multiple people identified as Black Hebrew Israelites, a pseudo-black supremacist group according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, more on that in a bit, started yelling at the student group.
But see, there's a reason why. There's a reason why y'all outnumber us and y'all keep y'all distance. There's a reason for that. You know why? Because you don't see the angels around us. You don't see angels around us. You couldn't touch us if you wanted to.
The student group, admittedly bizarrely, huddled together and started doing a school chant, ostensibly to keep composure in the face of the weird things that were going on around them.
Peace clap as well. Look at this foolie. Get no more than one person that he Hebrew life. Look at his head. You serious? What a brawl! Hey, listen.
There's a confusing exchange between the two groups, which is all barely audible, and then out of nowhere, Nathan Phillips comes in with his drum and several companions.
That's right. Here come Gad. Here come Gad. Here come Gad. Look at our Make America Great Again hats. Look at the hats. Look at the hats. We ain't taking. Look, we not taking. Look at Gad. That's right, Gad. Look at Gad.
He marches right up to where the students are waiting, and then that's it. Nothing else happens. The kid smiles awkwardly, but doesn't move, doesn't yell, doesn't really do anything. Everyone eventually disperses and goes home, and then the media goes insane. Not only does social media go into a full meltdown, calling for the expulsion of the students and the termination of the faculty involved, up to and including the father of the local diocese, but for some bizarre reason, in complete violation of journalistic ethics, actual legitimate journalists start asking for identifying information about these minor students on Twitter. And yet, despite all this vitriol and mouth-frothing emotional outrage, no one seems to have a clear view of exactly what happened. According to an interview with Nathan Phillips, he thought he saw a potential powder keg of a confrontation and decided to step in to keep the peace. He saw the student group as the aggressors and the Black Hebrews as the victims, but a cursory glance at the available video evidence kind of shows the opposite. In fact, what makes this whole episode a whole lot more bizarre is the fact that the Black Hebrews were taunting the Indigenous Peoples March an hour before they noticed the Catholic kids.
Means savage. You are not savages. You are the children of God according to the Bible. You are the children of Israel. Before you started worshiping totem poles, you was worshiping the true living God.
That's right.
Before you became an idol worshiper, you was worshiping the true and living God. And this is the reason why this land was taken away from you. Because you worship everything except the Most High.
But when Phillips decided to intervene, they changed up the targets, and all of a sudden the two groups are on the same side.
That's right. Here come Gad. Here come Gad.
After watching the unedited videos without the taint of journalistic nonsense, it really seems like the Black Hebrew Israelites were the instigators in this situation. They came out to where both groups were and lambasted them for hours, and yet no one's talking about them. On Twitter, apparently parents of the kids were blaming the situation on black Muslims who came to yell at them, which of course was met with ridicule and incredulity. But upon further research, it became apparent that they weren't Muslim. Instead, they were Jewish, or at least some weird anti-Semitic version of Jewish. This group, the Black Hebrew Israelites, are a fringe Zionist group that believe that what we think of Jews are actually imposters sent by the devil, and Israel belongs to them.
The people of Israel.
That's right.
About us.
Right.
We are a people before the land. So what we out here trying to do is show y'all, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that you are the Israelites according to the Bible.
That's right.
The people that are in Israel are not the true Jews.
Imposters. Imposters.
The FBI holds that while a majority are peaceful, there are extremists within the ranks who wouldn't be adverse to causing violence. But that's neither here nor there. All these guys seem to be interested in was counter-protesting groups that they thought were wrong, which I'm perfectly fine with. Rather, in my opinion, the real culprit here is the media. It was the news media that breathlessly ran with the story based on tweets and wild speculation, and fueled the fires of virality to put the idea that these kids harassed a poor, defenseless old Native American into the cultural zeitgeist. They didn't know the truth or the context, but more importantly, they didn't care. This fit within their worldview, so they had more than enough to publish a story that would bring in the views. This, of course, ignited an even bigger firestorm on social media, where legions of the pseudo-intellectually inclined parroted the journalist's version of the truth. Armchair philosophers came out of the woodwork to discuss the video, but it didn't matter. Anyone who strived for patience and objectivity was met with incredulous scoffs and the ever-popular,
"Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion."
But this isn't actually about clashing opinions. This is a perfect example of what happens when we put all of our faith into others to tell us what truth is. People seem entrenched on this issue on social media, not because they feel particularly strongly about the topic. Rather, they've invested a lot of trust into the media and expect journalists to think for them and to tell them what's actually happening. They almost begin to see their chosen spigot of truth as a function of themselves. So when someone comes along and asserts that maybe their preferred font of knowledge isn't being 100% correct or honest, they dig in. Clearly, you're the wrong one because you don't have the authority that the New York Times does, or CNN, or Fox, or BuzzFeed for that matter. As long as people continue to cede control of their thinking and analysis to groups of people who have a fuzzy notion of objectivity, we will continue to see the spiraling polarization of society. That seems like a grim future, but I think it can actually be stopped. That's honestly why NeoZeno exists. We had a vision to make news boring again. We give you the facts, and that's it. The truth of the matter is that journalists and media types have found out that clicks and views pour in when you give unsubstantiated opinions as facts. The reason is simple. It feeds a childishly naive view of the world, that there are ultimate good guys and bad guys, and you can help stop them by being loyal consumers of the correct information. Maybe hope is lost for the part of our generation that holds places like Reddit and Jezebel as surrogates for their own thinking. But maybe we can have a better future if at least a portion of us start thinking for ourselves. As those eternal prophets en vogue said about prejudice,
free your mind.
We don't warn you in the name of God. Yes, worship Him. Worship your Father. Look at what America produces. This is the religion of America. Let's make America great again. A bunch of child molesting faggots.
That's right.
thanks for watching the video. I hope everyone enjoyed hearing what I had to say about this topic. Like I said last time, I don't like making these things. I don't like being in front of the camera and all that. So, but Sam does, and so we're refining our process. We'll start pumping out a little bit more content as it's coming down. Just got done modernizing the website, so be sure to go check that out. It works a lot better on mobile now, and I think it looks great. There will be some more feature videos for the app as it's nearing completion. We're looking to explain a little bit more of the gamification that's going into some of the features, and we're super excited about it. For more stories and updates, make sure you check out NeoZeno.com, and if you want, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know people make fun of people who say that, but you know, yeah, we could use it. Anyway, see ya.